Shri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om Dhyayamo Dhavalavagunthanavatim Tejomayim Naishtikim Snigdhapangavilokinim Bhagavatim Mandasmita Shri Mukhim Vatsalyamritavarshinim Sumadhuram Sankirtanalapinim Syamangim Madhusikta Suktim Amritanandatmikam Ishwari Om Amriteshwaryai Namah Om Amriteshwaryai Namah Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Let us continue with our discussion. We are focusing our discussion on the text Hanuman Chalisa. Last week we began the discussion. We began with an introduction, and we are going to continue with the introduction. The last week we discussed about the path of knowledge, the Jnana Yoga, the path of devotion, Bhakti Yoga. We try to kind of compare and contrast both of them, and then we delved a little more into Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, the various aspects, the various bhavas, the various forms of devotion, etc. And that's more or less what we discussed the last week, primarily because we are discussing a text which is underscoring the importance of devotion. Verily the embodiment of devotion, verily the embodiment of humility, dedication is what Lord Hanuman is, to whom this text is dedicated to. So that's the reason why we discussed both knowledge and devotion last time, especially because I was giving an example the last time wherein I was mentioning that Lord Hanuman's devotion is to be considered the highest, or it's given the highest regard, because his devotion has its foundation in right wisdom, in true knowledge. That makes the devotion all the more meaningful, all the more powerful. So we ended our discussion with that the last week. Today we'll just move on, focusing more on the context, trying to understand the context. We'll first begin with Goswami Tulasidas, the author of the Hanuman Chalisa. Tulasidas is the name, the spiritual name given to the author of Hanuman Chalisa. Goswami is more like a title given to someone who is highly evolved spiritually. Goswami. Also sometimes in colloquial terms, or in regional, with the regional language influence, it is otherwise known, pronounced as Gosai, etc. So Goswami, one who is spiritually evolved, is referred to as Goswami. So Goswami Tulasidas was a great poet and a great philosopher from the 16th century. By birth, his name was Ram Bola. Ram Bola basically translates to one who ever calls out, or one whoever says the name of Ram, whoever has Lord Rama's name in his lips. It was believed when he was born, he didn't cry. He was in a mood of bliss as he was born. And it is believed that when he was born, he ever had the name Ram, 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 Ram in his mouth. Thus, he got the name Ram Bola, a very inspiring figure from the history. It is also believed, some believe that Tulasidas is a reincarnation of sage Valmiki. Sage Valmiki is the one who wrote the Ramayana, one who compiled and composed the Ramayana. Valmiki is referred to as Adi Kavi. Adi refers to one which doesn't have anything preceding to it, the foremost or the first. Adi Kavi. So he's referred to as the very first poet in the world, one who composed the poem of Ramayana, eliciting Lord Rama's life in a poetic form. So Tulsidas is considered by many as a reincarnation of Valmiki. He was ever thus devoted to Lord Rama. Right from childhood, he would organize plays, skits, drama. From the various episodes of Ramayana dedicated to Lord Rama. So he was always in the company of people ever focused on devotion towards Lord Rama. And he was quite scholarly in the language of Sanskrit and equally scholarly in the language of Awadhi, or otherwise pronounced as Audhi. Awadh is a region in northern part of India, now in the state of Uttar Pradesh, a region in the state of Uttar Pradesh known as Awadh, and the language is more specific to that, Awadhi. So his compositions in Awadhi are quite inspirational, and Hanuman Chalisa is also in that particular language. Though he was quite scholarly in the language of Sanskrit, his work in Awadhi captured people's heart because he could get the teachings of the scriptures, get the teachings, get the holy epic of Ramayana to the mass, to the local people who greatly benefited from it and they greatly appreciated that. Many of his works, it is believed that he was most of his life in the holy city of Varanasi or Banaras, Kashi, the abode of Lord Kashi Vishwanath, Lord Shiva. There's a temple considered highly by the devotee of Lord Shiva. People would go to Kashi, especially those, it used to be a trend in the olden times, wherein once you are done with all the responsibilities of your life, you would travel to Kashi. That would be your last travel, because it was a firm belief that if you pass away in the city of Kashi, you attain immortality or you attain liberation. You attain liberation. I'm sorry, I'm taking back the term immortality. You attain liberation. Both are synonymous more or less, but that's the belief that you die in Varanasi, you die in Kashi, you merge with the Supreme. So as auspicious a town, and Tulsidas, a lot of his work, it seems, were with him sitting by the banks of the Ganges, the holy river Ganga. He would write his, all his work was done in the banks of Ganga. And it is believed that once he got a vision of Lord Shiva and Parvati. Kashi is famous for Lord Shiva and Parvati, abode of Lord Shiva, Kashi Vishwanath. He gets a vision of Lord Shiva wherein he says, you are greatly a scholar in Sanskrit, but we would want you to work or put forth your work or your efforts in the language of Awadhi. We would want you to write the Ramayana in Awadhi language so that the local people can benefit from it. And he takes on his journey to Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Rama, which is not very far from Varanasi, again in the state of Uttar Pradesh. And he goes there, he spends several months there working on the Awadhi form of Ramayana, which is referred to as Ramcharitmanas. And he composes it, brings it back to Kashi, so as to show it to Lord Shiva that per your instructions I have gotten the whole Ramayana in Avadhi, ready. But then it seems, the legend goes, wherein it is believed that the so-called scholars of that time, especially the scholars of Sanskrit, they thought a work in Avadhi was not that great a deal because it's just a local language. If you're not a Sanskrit scholar, what's the big deal? So this work, which is done in the local language, is not a great thing. So they were not very happy about him doing the Ramayana in Avadhi. But then he said, I want to show it to Lord Shiva. I want to place it in the Kashi Vishwanath temple because Lord Shiva is the one who commanded me to write it in Avadhi. But then the scholars were not very happy, but because of his persistence, his insistence, they place the text in the sanctum sanctorum of the temple. And they place it right under all the other Sanskrit texts so that, for his peace of mind, let's keep it there. But, it's not that great a deal, some Avadhi text. What's the big deal about it? Put it under that. And they close the temple for the night after all the rituals are done. The next morning, when the priest comes, opens the temple, he finds the Ramcharitmanas on the very top, opened, as if someone went through the whole text throughout the night. And they realize their shortcoming in understanding the importance of the work Tulsidas has done, and their lack of appreciation of how great he was. And they all realize their mistake, they apologize to him, and more work in Avadhi is then brought forth by Goswami Tulsidas, and many more people are attracted by him, many more are positively influenced by him, and his fame increases. And in that process, it is believed that Tulsidas gets arrested and is put behind bars by the guards of the then Mughal emperor, Akbar. The Mughal emperor, the Indian subcontinent was ruled by the Mughal emperors. And there are many reasons given to it. I did not have a chance to talk to Akbar, so I don't exactly know what the reason is. But there are different forms or different arguments there. Some say he was put behind the jail because he refused to respect anyone but the divine. So he didn't respect the emperor, so he was put behind the bars. Some other argument is wherein it seems the administrators there locally were not happy with him because he was promoting a different religion than that of the ruler or the ruling government there. So he was put behind bars. But that is not important for us. The fact is he was put behind bars, and in some references I've seen, they say he was put behind bars exactly for 40 days. I'm not sure about it, so I'm not putting it forth in a strong way. He was put behind bars, and it seems at this point of time when he was in jail, he wrote the Hanuman Chalisa, the 40 verses in praise of Lord Hanuman. And it seems as he completed his work of Hanuman Chalisa, the kingdom, including the palace of the king, was attacked by an army of monkeys. They just came and they created a havoc in the whole kingdom. They would go and break things. They would enter people's house and make a mess out of the house. They would pull people's hair. They would create every kind of problem in the kingdom. And the emperor didn't know what to do. And it seems one of his advisors, they are referred to as Hafiz. Hafiz is someone who has imbibed or learnt or memorized the teachings of the Quran. It is referred to as Hafiz. So the emperors would have Hafiz, many Hafiz in their court. And one of the Hafiz tells him, looks like you are in this condition, or the kingdom is in this condition because you have, you are putting a devotee of the Lord under trouble, or you are hurting a devotee of the Lord in some way or the other. And Akbar realizes his men have put Tulsidas behind the bars. So he immediately goes, seeks forgiveness, realizes the greatness of Tulsidas, and the moment he's freed from the jail, the monkeys just disappear. So it is believed the greatness of Hanuman Chalisa was evident right from when it was composed by Tulsidas. Hanuman Chalisa is considered very auspiciously, or is considered with high regard, especially in the northern part of India, by the devotees of Lord Rama, Lord Vishnu, Hanuman, etc. It is believed that Hanuman Chalisa brings in some form of strength, both physical and mental. There are many bodybuilders in India who would traditionally be devotees of Lord Hanuman, because they would believe that if I pray to Hanuman, I would be able to build good strength, body strength, because Hanuman was the representation of physical and mental strength. But Hanuman Chalisa is believed to bring, is widely believed to bring in that strength that we need so as to be a bold individual. The 40 verses, they comprise of praises to Lord Hanuman, especially in the context of various episodes in Ramayana. His role, critical roles that he played in various episodes of Ramayana. And though Hanuman is praised there, when we look at it from a spiritual point of view, we have something to learn from Lord Hanuman in the way he conducted himself in various situations. We'll discuss about those as we get to each of those verses, but the basic thing that we need to understand is how Hanuman, with all his abilities, conducted himself with humility, with restraint, with control over his mind and his senses. Though his appearance is that of a monkey. Monkey is the very embodiment of restlessness. Monkey cannot be in one place, would jump from one branch to the other. That very embodiment, that very form is giving an example of how one could be completely focused and one-pointed, how one could be devoted and dedicated. So, like I had mentioned, it is strongly believed by the devotees of Hanuman, by the devotees of Lord Rama. If you chant Hanuman Chalisa, you gain great deal of strength, both physical and mental. If you chant, we can interpret this in two ways. One, as you chant Hanuman Chalisa regularly, you have the grace and guidance of Lord Hanuman. And when you have the grace and guidance of divine in form of Lord Hanuman, you automatically will have strength to face every moment in your life. The other way, the more logical, the first way is that of bhakti, that of faith. The other way, logically, reasoning that out, when you try to understand, when you try to chant Hanuman Chalisa, not just mechanically chant Hanuman Chalisa, rather imbibe the teachings of Hanuman Chalisa. If you try to imbibe the very teaching of Hanuman Chalisa, the examples Lord Hanuman has set, and if we try to imbibe that into our character, automatically there's no doubt we will develop mental strength, because that's what Hanuman is the very embodiment of. If you try to be like him, if you try to develop the qualities that he exemplified, there's no doubt we would automatically be able to face situations better in our life. Thus, we would develop mental and physical strength. I would, at least understanding myself, my understanding of my own self, I would think more in the latter way, to understand Hanuman Chalisa, imbibe the teachings, thereby gaining strength that we need in life. So if you look into my own example, you may have heard me mention about living in the DC ashram all by myself, and I've given so many examples during our previous scriptural discussions and satsangs, etc. I had this fear of being in dark alone right from very young age, and I had it for quite some time in my life. I'm putting the had in double quotes. Not that I don't have it. Probably it has helped me to a good extent. That's what I would say. You scare me tomorrow, I may get scared. That's a different thing. But I remember when I was alone here, any experience I would have which is not very pleasant, which is so-called scary in nature, I would regularly chant Hanuman Chalisa. The one who gave me the idea of Hanuman Chalisa was my biological sister, my second sister. She would, I guess, she used to chant Hanuman Chalisa a lot, and she got me into chanting Hanuman Chalisa. And I don't know how, every time I would chant Hanuman Chalisa, I would get some kind of courage, some kind of, feeling bold, feeling the strength that, why should I be scared now? I chanted Hanuman Chalisa. That's how I felt. So definitely Hanuman Chalisa helped me to a very good effect in dealing with fear as I was alone in this building. It's a 4-floor, 16,000 square feet building. I was just the only person here. The close by house is quite away. We can't look at, you can't see the next house, the neighboring house from any of the windows here. It's quite difficult to. So, and all these experiences has definitely made me reason out why am I fearful of things and slowly overcome that fear. And I remember the year 2011, the sister who got me into Hanuman Chalisa, who introduced Hanuman Chalisa to me, she used to do her PhD in Japan back then. And I remember one night, it was late at night here, I get a call from her telling I'm on top of, I'm in one of these top floors and the higher floors of a tall building, and we just had a severe earthquake. It was March 2011. And we're all told to evacuate the building. We are all going down. Looks like it's a very major earthquake, and hopefully I'll be able to keep in touch. She just says that and she hangs up. And then on, she's not reachable at all. We all know of the March 2011 earthquake. We know the Fukushima disaster, the nuclear plant disaster, the huge earthquake, the tsunami that happened. So we just get that news, and it's just that, and then she's not reachable for the next almost 36 hours, next 2.5 days, day and a half, I guess. And all I know is she told she's going down of the getting off the building, going down onto the streets. And then I see at night, middle of the night, I was looking at CNN. They say there's this huge tsunami coming. Everyone needs to go up onto the building. And how do we convey that to her? There's no way to reach. And we don't even know whether she knows that the tsunami is coming or not, because they won't know. They have no connectivity. They have nothing. And you feel so sorry for someone who is in that situation. You want to help them, but there's no way to help them, and we really don't know whether they have the right information at all to be safe. That brings in a conflict in your mind. I want to help them, but I'm not able to help them. It brings in some form of unsettled feeling within. And that was there for the next day and a half, because she could get connectivity to make a phone call only after a day and a half. Then she calls and says, we are completely fine. As a matter of fact, the tsunami didn't hit Tokyo. And, they got the right information at the right time. So they were quite safe. That definitely gave a good sense of relief. But I think it was August 2011, we had a major earthquake here in Washington, D.C. In 2011, August, it was August 2011. And I guess by then we were only 2 residents, me and one other person in this building. And then I remember we had 2 aftershocks late at night. And you already have this history of earthquake, tsunami, which is dormant there. After that, it didn't bother me. And then you face earthquake, it was about 5.9 or 6. So that's a major earthquake for this region. We don't get earthquake. And we had many of these pictures and things fallen down when I came back. So now that is creating an unrest in your heart, right? In your mind. Earthquake, when will it happen? Or what will happen, etc. And I remember very vividly, every time I got that feeling of being unsettled, I would chant Hanuman Chalisa. And I don't know how to reason it out. It would just give me the strength to face that situation. Just give me a sense of, calm. Just would calm me down, calm the mind down. So like I mentioned, it could be two ways of reasoning it, like I just mentioned earlier. One, it's that, oh, Lord Hanuman is coming and he's protecting me, that faith. Or otherwise, two, I am trying to get inspired by how Lord Hanuman was, and that from that I could draw some inspiration, telling if we are like him, we can also be, Lord Hanuman is referred to as Chiranjeevi, one who is beyond death. We can also be beyond death. One who realizes your true self is ever beyond death, because we then identify with the soul which never dies. The body anyway would perish. So maybe that is the other way I drew the inspiration. Any case, it helped me a great deal, Hanuman Chalisa. So I thought I'll share that. Hanuman Chalisa is something that helps us in developing faith, devotion, and mental strength. Strength in every way possible. So we will discuss Hanuman Chalisa over the next several weeks, going over the 40 verses. Before we do that, I thought it would be good we have a context of Lord Hanuman, Lord Hanuman's relationship with Lord Rama, etc. For that, we will go over as quickly as possible. I would say as quickly would mean today's whole session probably. Go over the episodes of Ramayana, at least the important episodes of Ramayana that sets a context to Lord Hanuman, sets a context to what we need to learn from Ramayana. So to begin with, not yet. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's just me. I just saw that. I thought you. So King Dasharatha ruled the kingdom of Ayodhya. King Dasharatha had 3 wives, and he didn't have a child. So he didn't have an heir who could take up his responsibility as he was growing old. So Ayodhya, like I mentioned earlier, is a town now in the state of Uttar Pradesh, in north of India, today's India. And the lineage, the dynasty that they, the rule fell under was known as the Sun dynasty, Surya Vamsha, Raghu Vamsha, the Raghu dynasty. So the whole rule was widespread, very powerful king and powerful kingdom. As a matter of fact, Lord Rama, who then took it upon himself to be the king thereafter, his fame reached far and wide. Lord Rama was revered, or is revered, all around the world. We are discussing Hanuman Chalisa even today, thousands and thousands of years after Lord Rama was on the face of earth. But it is believed that the influence of the rule and the influence of Rama's the whole personality that Lord Rama was, went all the way east to the today's eastern neighbors or eastern countries, the countries to the east of India. It went all the way to Bangladesh, which is southeast of India, Myanmar, or Burma as we call it, Laos, Thailand, Indonesia, Cambodia. They all were greatly influenced by Lord Rama. In Bali, Indonesia, even today, Lord Rama is celebrated with a lot of devotional fervor, with a lot of pomp, etc. Even today, a lot of their traditional art form depicts episodes from the Ramayana, like Lord Rama's vanquishing Ravana, Lord Rama, the various episodes of Sita being abducted by Ravana, etc. They are popularly played even today, and you could find Lord Rama's idols in Bali, in many different places. As a matter of fact, many other deities of the Indian tradition too, we can find their idols erected up. There are, ancient carvings of the various episodes of Ramayana in rocks, in caves, etc. So Lord Rama had an influence that was quite much wider than just the geographical region of India alone. In Cambodia is almost the easternmost of the southern part of Asia, the Southeast Asia. Cambodia has a huge temple that was dedicated to Lord Vishnu. And it is considered, it's a fun fact, it's considered the largest religious monument in the world. It spans over 400 plus acres of land, hectares of land, 400 plus acres of land. It's a huge dedication. The then emperor of the Khmer dynasty, he built it in praise of Lord Vishnu, whose incarnation is Lord Rama. And it seems after many decades, after few many centuries, it became a Hindu and Buddhist place of worship. In any case, the point was Lord Rama's influence was much beyond just the town of Ayodhya. So to say, the subject of Ayodhya loved Lord Rama to a very great extent. So Dasharatha was the king first. He had 3 wives, Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. But he did not have a child. So as he was growing old, as he was worried about who's going to take up the responsibilities from him, he performs the Ashwamedha Yajna. He performs the Putra Kameshti Yajna. Putra Kameshti Yajna, Putra Kama, a desire for a child, and you perform a yajna, a fire ceremony and a ceremony of sacrifice wherein you would give a lot of your dear things to people in need. So he performed this yajna, and it is believed that the presiding deity of the yajna came forth with a bowl or a vessel of payasam, of sweet pudding, and he handed it to Dasharatha, telling, have your wives drink this, have your wives consume this. Once they have this, your desire will be fulfilled. So he had 3 wives. He gave half and half to the first 2 wives, who? Kausalya and Kaikeyi. And then they shared from their half with Sumitra each. So thus, Kaushalya gave birth to Lord Rama, who is considered the 8th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And Kaikeyi gave birth to Bharata. And Sumitra gave birth to Lakshmana and Shatrugna. So there were 4 brothers. Let's not bother about the names. 4 brothers: Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana, and Shatrugna. Lakshmana was very devoted to Lord Rama. Bharata and Shatrugna were again close siblings. Of all the 4 brothers, Rama was the eldest, and by his character, he was so lovable, he was adored by everyone, including all the 3 mothers, the subject of the citizens and the subject of the kingdom. The father, Dasharatha, Lord Rama, was favorite of every person then because of his lovable character, because he was verily the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, the 8th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And as they grew older, he was rightly declared the crown prince who would take up the kingship from his father. And when this message was conveyed to Kaikeyi, like I mentioned, all the three mothers loved Rama equally. Kaikeyi was so happy listening to Lord Rama being the next king. It is believed that she just removed a very precious necklace that she was wearing. She just removes it and hands it to the person who conveyed the message to her. She was so ecstatic about it. She was so happy about Lord Rama being the king. That was the love Lord Rama enjoyed. And he verily deserved that. But then Kaikeyi had a maid called Manthara. Manthara Bhashanam. It's a term that is very popular to those who are familiar with Ramayana. Manthara now comes and brainwashes Kaikeyi, telling, what a fool you are that you're celebrating your stepson. His stepson? So, right to say, right? He's Kaushalya's son. So, stepsons. Coronation or declaration of him being the crown prince. The coronation hasn't happened yet, but it's such a foolishness that you're celebrating that. What about your son? Think of Bharata. He's going to suffer under Lord Rama's rule. He's going to have no importance. He's going to have no meaning in his life. And then, of course, Kaikeyi loved Rama so much. She didn't take any of that, but repeated attempt to influence her thoughts, Kaikeyi finally fell for it. Without her own knowledge, she just fell for it. Spur of the moment emotion, we call it, right? And she just fell for it. And Kaikeyi convinces her, go to King Dasharatha right away and tell him you want your son to be the king, because Kaikeyi happened to be Dasharatha's one of his favorite wife. And she goes up to Dasharatha and claims two boons or two promises that he had made her. Kaikeyi was an able warrior too. So she had, in many occasions, accompanied Bharata on in war front. So she would go with him into the battlefield, and she twice saved his life. Once when the opponent kind of destroyed Dasharatha's chariot. So she uses her finger to keep the wheel in place and helped him continue with the war. And the other time when he gets injured or so, she carries him to safety. So because of that, he grants her two promises or boons, telling whenever you want to ask for a promise or a boon, I will fulfill that for you. And Kaikeyi says, I'll do it later when I need it. Now is the time, unfortunately, that she asks for those two boons or those two promises. She says, I want two boons. One, I want my son Bharata to be declared the king. And two, I want Rama to go on exile for 14 years into the forest, should be banished into the forest. And Dasharatha was heartbroken. So the bad company that Kaikeyi had brought in a complete change in the whole mood in the kingdom, the whole kingdom. And as she got negatively influenced by someone, she acted without thinking, and it brought forth a big consequence. And so there's this Malayalam verse. I remember I sang it as part of a skit that we played, a drama that we played on the stage, with music, etc. So I sang this as a background score for that particular scene, which went as Manthara Bhashanam Ketandhayai Kaikeyim Rajabinod Unmattayai Cholli Madiyadaval Raman Ayodhya Vidatte 14 Varsham Vanavasamagatte Bharadan Bharikkette Rajyavum. It basically narrates this very episode in those 4 lines. There are some terms that are used in this verse. It says, Manthara Bhashanam Ket Andhayai Kaikeyi. They refer to Kaikeyi as blind, one who was blinded, one who couldn't see the facts in front of her. She was completely blinded. She couldn't see the truth. Rather, she was blinded by her selfish thoughts. And Raja Vinod Unmattayai Cholli. She spoke to the king unmatta. Unmatta is the term used here. Unmatta basically means intoxicated. One who spoke intoxicated. Intoxicated what? Intoxicated in your own selfishness. So intoxicated in selfishness, andha, blinded, one who couldn't see the truth. And Raja Vinod Unmattayai Cholli Madiyadaval, one who had no hesitation, one who did things in haste without thinking. She spoke in haste. Because very soon after that, for the goodness that Kaikeyi was a representation of, she repented that. In no time, she realized she made a big mistake. But back then, the word that is given to someone was ever held so seriously. So she realized immediately she made a big mistake. So acting in haste, being intoxicated in selfishness, being blinded by bad company that you had or the influence that you had. I thought I wanted to put forth these three or bring forth these three terms from the verse. So Dasharatha was heartbroken. Then he commanded Lord Rama to go into exile, and Bharata happened to be away that moment. So he wasn't present in Ayodhya. When he realized, he learnt about it later, he was completely so disturbed by this development that he was so he used harsh a harsh attitude towards his own mother for her wrongdoing. So that was the level of love the brothers had. In any case, Lord Rama, contrary to how it would be today, now if my father asks me, going into the forest, forget about it. Father asks you to even turn your TV off, we are going to revolt. He says, no more mobile phones. Put your mobile phones away. We are going to revolt. But this was about 14 years of being in the forest, no internet, no Wi-Fi, nothing. And Lord Rama very humbly accepts that. He says, my father says so, it's my dharma to follow it. And for that matter, he even actually went to Mother Kaikeyi to console her, telling, don't worry, it's totally fine. I'll be completely fine. You shouldn't be repenting. You don't need to have the remorse. This was meant to happen. We'll talk about it was meant to happen. But anyway, Kaikeyi was the reason why it happened. And Lord Rama actually went to Kaikeyi, not going and shouting at her. Rather, he went and consoled her, telling it's completely fine. That was the level of virtues people had at that point of time, especially Lord Rama, the very embodiment of the personification of perfection. And then Lord Rama set out. So he begins from Ayodhya, which is in the northern part of India. So I just have this very rough drawing that I did. I kind of was looking at the various points that Lord Rama stayed or stopped, and I did a very rough path that he took all the way down to south of India. Anyway, he starts from Ayodhya, which is in the state of Uttar Pradesh. And then in the town of, or in the place of Chitrakoot, which is in the border, it is actually in the state of Madhya Pradesh in India now. It is in the border. It borders with Uttar Pradesh too. So it's almost in the border. That's where Bharata comes and meets Lord Rama. And he says, nothing doing, my mom, just don't care about her. You're coming back and you are the right ruler of the country, of the kingdom. You need to come back right away. And Lord Rama says, no. You get an instigation like that, we would immediately say, that's true. Let's, pay the time to pay back. That was not Lord Rama's response. He says, no, we will follow our father's directions as he has commanded to us. You should be the king. I will be back in 14 years. So this shows Bharata's love and respect towards his brother, true brotherhood, and Lord Rama's dedication towards being dutiful, being adhering to dharma, what he needs to follow. And then Bharata says, okay, because you're telling me I'm going back, but I'm not going back to become the wrongful king of the kingdom. Rather, you are still going to be the king. I'm going to take your sandals, I'm going to carry it on my head, I'm going to place your sandals on the throne, and I'll rule on your behalf like I am a tenant king. I'll rule on your behalf, and then once you come back, you will be rightfully the king. So I'll keep the throne would have your sandals there, and I'll rule on your behalf. Again, that shows his detachment, his non-greed towards becoming the king, to becoming the most powerful person, and how he adheres to dharma. And then Bharata goes back. Lord Rama moves to central part of India in the Dandaka Vana, in the Dandaka forest. And the next 10 years, it seems, Lord Rama was in that, of the 14 years. So I just put it at zigzag there because Lord Rama was in different various places. So there's a zigzag in the central part. And there he helped many sages and seers, many hermitage from, attacks of demons, etc. So there are many different episodes during those 10 years. Eventually, they come more to the west, and they settle in a place called Panchavati. It was like a hermitage setup that they would be in, a very simple life that they would have. And that's when the character called Shurpanaka comes in. Shurpanaka was the sister of Ravana, and she was very, is the term right, enamored by Lord Rama's abilities, his appearance, etc. And she proposes that she wants to marry him. And Lord Rama says he was a devout husband to Sita. And she's so disturbed by that, and she tries to attack Sita. And in that process, Lakshmana protects Sita, and he punishes Shurpanaka for her misdeeds. And she runs back to Lanka and complains to Ravana, telling, I was attacked. And that brings anger in Ravana. And she also tells about Sita, who was the cause of all these problems. And Ravana is now influenced, or is enamored by Sita for her beauty. So now Ravana thinks, I need to get Sita in revenge now. And Ravana sets out to get Sita. So he uses the help of Maricha, a demon who was a Mayavi, who could create illusions. He was an illusionist, so to say. So he appears like a golden deer in front of the hermitage in Panchavati. And when Sita looks at the golden deer, she says, I want that golden deer. And Lord Rama tries to tell her, looks like this is an illusion. A golden deer is not existent, so don't go after it. She says, no, I want it. And she becomes adamant, telling, I want it. She has a strong desire that she wants it, and she asks Lord Rama to go and hunt that deer and bring that deer back to her. And Lord Rama, as devout and loving he is as a husband, he goes to get the deer. And as he goes and gets the deer, Maricha, who was an illusionist, he creates this sound as if Lord Rama was hurt, and Lord Rama is calling out for help. So when Sita hears this, she asks Lakshmana to go and help Lord Rama. Lakshmana says, Lord Rama, no one can do anything to him, and he has ordered me to be here to protect you. I cannot leave. She says, I command you, you go and help Ravana. Again, Sita did not heed to what Lord Rama had instructed them. So not heeding to advice that we get. So now what happens? Lakshmana draws a line with his special arrow. It's called Lakshmana Rekha, the line of Lakshmana. He tells her, this is a special line that I'm drawing here. You will be safe if you're within those lines. If you go past it, you won't be safe. So make it a point, you definitely stay within this line. The discipline that we draw in our life, telling I need to be within limits, that depicts that. And then what happens when Lakshmana is gone? Now Ravana has the course free now for his act to begin. So he dresses himself as a sage or a sadhu and comes asking for alms. And he asks Sita for alms. And Sita says, here, take it, but I need to stay within this line. You can take it from here. But Ravana is not able to come into within the line because Lakshmana has drawn that. It's like the security system we have in the house. He's not able to come in. The moment he comes, the alarm goes off. So he's not able to breach into it. And then Ravana says, it's such a disrespect that you're showing to a sadhu like me. You're not giving me alms, you're asking me to come there. So much of disrespect that you're showing, you better come to me and give it to me. And Sita heeds to that. She forgets about what Lakshmana had told her. She forgets about Lord Rama's instructions. She goes past the Lakshman Rekha. She crosses the limits. And moment she gets out, Ravana comes to his original form, abducts her and takes her to Lanka. And he had this Pushpaka Vimana. He had an airplane, or he had a so-called drone that he could fly in back then. And he takes Sita. And Rama had this great devotee Jatayu, who was a vulture, who was a great devotee of Rama. And he tries to protect Sita. But he was he was no match for Ravana, and he dies in that process. And as he's about to die, Lord Rama comes back searching for Sita, and he tells Ravana the direction that he tells Rama the direction Ravana took Sita in. So that's how they start going south. So the path now goes southwards. Now they leave Panchavati, they're going south towards Lanka, today Sri Lanka. In that process, they come to the kingdom of Kishkinta. Kishkinta is the monkey empire, or the monkey kingdom, ruled by then the king called Vali or Bali. And he had a brother called Sugriva. There's an episode, we'll not get into that, wherein Bali was wrongly the king there. Sugriva was supposed to be the rightful king. And Sugriva's minister was Hanuman. That's where he comes into the picture. And when they find that there are two strong men, warriors, walking into their region, Sugriva thinks Bali, who's ever trying to kill Sugriva, has sent two people to assassinate him. He tries to run away. And Hanuman tells him, no, let us find out what their motive is. What if they are here otherwise? Because they don't seem like someone who's come here to create a problem for us. So Sugriva instructs Hanuman to disguise himself like someone who seeks alms, and approach Rama and Lakshmana and try to have a conversation with them and find out why are they here. And Hanuman does so. And the moment Hanuman meets Lord Rama, he realizes this is no normal person here. He realizes that he is with someone who is not comprehensive, not someone who his mind is not able to comprehend much beyond that. And in that conversation, he realizes they are not here to harm us. And Lord Rama, moment he sees Hanuman, he realizes this is not a person who is seeking alms. He is strong physically, and he is, by his nature, the way he talks, the way he speaks, the way he pronounces things, etc. Though he's a monkey figure, he is a learned person. And Lord Rama asks him, who are you? And then he reveals, I am Hanuman, I am Sugriva's assistant or minister, and I'm here to inquire why are you here. And then Rama understands Sugriva's plight. Hanuman explains it to them. Eventually, Rama helps Sugriva win over Bali. That's how the episode goes. Let's not go more into it. There are no questions and controversies there of why that happened. We'll discuss about it hopefully during the discussion of Hanuman Chalisa as we get to the episode, if at all it comes. And then in return, Sugriva says, we are going to help you with your mission. So he says, I am in search of Mother Sita. And the whole monkey army then joins Lord Rama in search of Mother Sita. That's how the monkeys come with Rama. If you wondered why are there so many monkeys, why did Lord Rama have monkey army? It is the army of Kishkinta that went with them. And then once that is done, they reach southern part of India. They reach the state of Tamil Nadu. Kishkinta is in the state of Karnataka. They reach almost to the tip, down near the northern tip of Sri Lanka. So in India, they are there, the Ramanathapuram, and specifically the tip is Rameshwaram. So when they are there, Lord Rama sends Hanuman across the Indian Ocean as a messenger to find out how is Mother Sita doing. So Hanuman goes as a messenger. Hanuman, as a matter of fact, had a curse that he was not aware of his own potential, because there's a story behind it. We will definitely discuss that during the Hanuman Chalisa. So Hanuman was now again reminded of his true potential. So once he realizes his true potential, his strength, he now crosses the Indian Ocean, the small strip between that tip of Rameshwaram and Sri Lanka, the northern tip. He crosses, he reaches Mother Sita. Lord Rama sent a ring of his as a confirmation that Hanuman is truly Mother Sita's, Lord Rama's messenger. He shows it to Mother Sita. Sita Devi is happy. He's like so happy that Lord Rama's messenger is here. And he says, he assures her, Lord Rama is on his way. He'll come and rescue you. In that process, he also meets Vibhishana. Vibhishana is Ravana's brother, who was very dharmic in nature, who was very righteous by nature. And he meets Vibhishana. That is also a very interesting meeting between two people who were very devoted, very dharmic in nature. Again, we'll discuss about it during the Hanuman Chalisa. And then finally, Hanuman is caught by the soldiers and they are taken to Ravana as an intruder alert. And they take him to Ravana. And Ravana was very disrespectful towards a messenger. He just makes fun of him being a monkey. He completely was rude and disrespectful. As a punishment for being an intruder, his tail is set on fire. And Hanuman warns Ravana, telling, you made a grave mistake. You don't realize the mistake that you have done by setting fire to my tail. And this doesn't talk of my greatness. Rather, this talks of the greatness of my master. If I can create havoc in your kingdom, which I am going to do now, think of what my master is capable of, who is coming here to rescue Sita. And he goes around spreading the fire all across the whole kingdom. The fire on his tail, now he spreads it all around Ayodhya, creates havoc, and then he is back. So he sends a message telling, be ready. This is just a trailer. Be ready for the movie. We are all coming up there. And once he comes back, he confirms Mother Sita is there. They all reach the tip, the little tip there on the eastern coast, southern tip. Then Lord Rama, along with the Vanaras, the Vanara Sena, the monkey army, they build the Rama Setu. They drop stones, rocks, and they float on the water, and that forms a bridge, and they cross. They go to Lanka, they vanquish Ravana, and they return to Ayodhya with Mother Sita. That's the whole sequence of Ramayana. I'm sorry we went a little long today. I thought we should finish this. I couldn't stop it in between. I have a few more things to discuss. We'll do that the next week. Just one last point that I would make before we chant the Hanuman Chalisa. So Ravana, it's not that Rama happened to just vanquish Ravana because he abducted Sita. Like Rama mentioned to Kaikeyi, this was meant to happen. Why? Because it's a flashback wherein Lord Vishnu, his abode, Vaikuntha, had two gatekeepers, Jaya and Vijaya. I recently discussed this in some of the satsangs. You may have heard me mention this. In any case, Jaya and Vijaya are very ardent devotees of Vishnu who safeguard the gates of his abode. And now, the Sanat Kumaras, the four little offsprings of, or little sons of Brahma, they chose to be brahmacharis, little boys, but they were extremely knowledgeable of the Vedas. They were the holders of the Vedas, the supreme text, the supreme teachings. It was believed so. So they come here, they're going to have a strategic meeting with Vishnu. But as they're about to enter, Jaya and Vijaya ask her, do you have an appointment? If you don't have an appointment, we can't let you in. Show us the appointment order. And they don't have an appointment order. Jaya and Vijaya, they fail to realize who were they dealing with. And Sanat Kumaras, they curse Jaya and Vijaya, telling, may you be born in earth as human beings so that you know what suffering means. And they are taken aback by that. And then Vishnu comes and he intervenes and he tells the four brothers, telling, please forgive them. They are very devoted to me. They did it out of ignorance. Please don't curse them. So they say, okay, we can, a curse given, a word given is always a word given. We can kind of make it simple for you. We give you two options. One, you have to take 7 births as Vishnu's devotees. And after those 7 births, you can come back to Vishnu's abode. That is one option. Or otherwise, you can just take 3 births, but as Vishnu's opponent, as Vishnu's enemy. And in 3 births, you can come back. Which one would you want? They said, we cannot stay away from Vishnu for too long. We don't care whether we are opponent or friends or devotees. We just want 3 births. We'll be his opponent and we'll take 3 births. And Vishnu promises, I will incarnate so as to liberate you from each of those births. So they were born as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha in the Satya Yuga, the time of the golden age of truth. And Vishnu incarnates as Varaha in form of boar, and Narasimha in form of lion and human, half lion, half human form, so as to liberate them. Then they were born as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, and Vishnu incarnated as Rama. So it was meant to happen. It was not about killing Rama, rather it was liberating them of the curse. So it was meant to happen. Kaikeyi, they were all just a reason or a tool through which it happened. So Lord Rama had to come, put an end to Ravana in that mortal form and liberate him. And then in the Treta Yuga, they were born as Shishupala, and they were born as Shishupala and Dantavakra, and Vishnu incarnated as Krishna so as to liberate them. So it was not that Lord Rama killed or vanquished Ravana. It was liberating them of the curse. That was the point. Anyway, we'll quickly summarize this the next week as we start, and then move on to Hanuman Chalisa. Sorry that we went over time today. I thought it was best to complete the whole sequence of Ramayana. Stopping it in between would have created discontinuity. So now we'll conclude the discussion part. We will now sing the Hanuman Chalisa like we did the last week, as we would do it every week, and then do the Shanti Mantra and conclude. Om Amriteshwarye Namah. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउँ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फल चारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरा पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराज कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय हनुमान सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय हनुमान। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय संजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बढ़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै कादिक आदि मुनीसा नारद शारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कई सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय हनुमान सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय हनुमान। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना युग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेली मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचर जनाई दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। तेज संहारो आपै, तीनों लोक हाँकते कापै, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै, महावीर जब नाम सुनावै। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। से रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा, संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है परिसिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहा रघुपति के दासा। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। हरे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाय, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाय, और देवता चित्त न धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई, संकट कटै मिटै सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई, जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंधि महा सुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। कीजे नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूरति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। ओ माता सीता की जय, ओ माता सीता की जय, ओ भ्राता लक्ष्मण की जय, ओ भ्राता लक्ष्मण की जय। भरत और शत्रुघ्न की जय, भरत और शत्रुघ्न की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। Let us conclude praying to the Almighty that every being in the creation be happy, content, and peaceful. Let us chant the Shanti Mantra together 3 times. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.